so I'm just getting the majority of the paint off my brush again, and we're just going to go on the very side of the hand here. There's little bits in there. So on the very side of the palm here, and right up the to the finger base there. And then we're going to go on the top here, along the bump of the hand, and then at the base here, going up towards the fingers, like so. And then one more is we're just going to bring it down and around that line there, and then right across the top where the fingers meet the hand. Okay, and then we're just going to pounce that out, making sure to leave it in the same place so we're not moving it around into places we don't want it. Okay, just dab that off with your sponge, and with your dry brush just make sure that there's nothing left in the creases. So, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, check it's not too hot, and then we'll do that again. So around the base and at the side, up the hand, around the top here, and around the top on the other side, up the side of the thumb, and then along the top. And we're just going to pounce out the excess again. And with our dry brush just go through and check there's nothing in the creases. That's good, so we'll heat set that. And do that all again. Oops. Fingers aren't working today. Okay, and then again same thing, so around the base, up to the finger, around the top, around the side, up and across, and just pounce the excess out. Now when doing this and putting it around the side and sort of creating a little circle area, it just highlights the tip of the bump here, and it just gives it a little bit more contouring. You just add a little bit more depth with the shading. This is also handy if there's very little shape to the hand that you're reborning. Though this kit is very well sculpted and there's lots and lots of shape to it. So it's not too much of a problem here. Okay, and then we'll heat set that again, just blending in that line a little bit more, and we'll heat set that. And again. So around the base. Lots of little bits in this brush. I don't think I'll be using it much longer. Bring it up around the side, around the top there. Same with the same with the other one. Round, up the side. Not too much on this brush. And then across the top here. The thing about the bigger brushes is they tend to hold a lot more paint, so just be careful to make sure you do have all of it all of the excess off the brush before you start. Otherwise, like you just saw, it will run right around the side of the hand, and we don't want that. So pouncing off the excess and making sure the line's nice and blemished. And just go in with your brush again. Make sure there's nothing left in the creases. A little bit around there. Okay. And then we'll heat set that. And then I'm going to do the whole hand again. So over the whole hand. Right up to the fingertips. All the way up. Okay, and then we'll just pounce that off with our sponge again. Up the sides of the fingers. And then with our dry brush, just make sure there's no excess hiding. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. Just pounce off the tips of the fingers there. So we'll heat set that now. Okay, so you can really see that's beginning to pick up quite a bit of colour. Okay, so I'm going to use my smaller brush this time. I'll just give my paints a bit of a mix. Okay, use my smaller flat brush, and I'm just going to go into the little crease around the thumb here. And then up the sides. And just pounce that out a little. And do the same on this side, so just line the circle and pounce that out. And then in this crease here. We're just going to go around the tops of the fingers, the base of the fingers even, like so. Pounce out the excess. Use your dry brush to make sure that there's nothing hiding. I think we're okay here. I'm just going to go back in and fill in this little section here. A little bit of depth to it. Okay. And then heat set that. Just got a little bit in here that I don't like. Okay, so we'll heat set that now. Just having a look at it. Okay, so we're going to focus on the fingertips a little bit now. So using the same paint. Hold on. So we're going to focus on the fingertips now. So just going to paint over the fingertip, like so, right around the sides, and then we're going to bring it around the front here. You can see where that paint ran round when we had a little bit too much on my brush. So you just want to paint around the fingernail, like so. Then just dab the excess off, and use your dry brush just to remove it from the fingernail if any gets on. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, and then we'll do that again. All the way around. Like so. And just pounce out the excess. Use your dry brush. And then heat set that. Okay. Now this time, we're going to, remember when we were creasing the fingers, we did this semicircle at the top, just to give the tip of the finger a little bit more shape. So we're going to do the same thing again, so just shade around the tip, the base of the tip, like so, so it's in a semicircle like this. And then we're just going to dab that off, and then heat set that. So the semicircle again, and just pounce that off and heat set. And then we're going to go over the whole finger again, all the way around the front of the finger, right around the nail, making sure you leave the nail alone. So, and then heat set that. Okay, it's beginning to look quite nice, so we're going to keep going with that. So I'm just going to reload my brush, just focusing on the one fingertip at a time. All around the sides, like so, and just pounce that off, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, so you can see the difference. Remove the sponge out of the way. You can see the difference between the untouched fingertips and then the fingertips themselves. Ignore my paleness here, it's making me show the vinyl look very, very red. It's not too red, it's just me being very, very pale. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next finger. Do exactly the same thing, so over the whole fingertip, and then around the back, and around the sides. Just remove any excess from the fingernail, like so, and just pounce off around the finger and heat set that. And again. All the way around the finger. Like so. And just pounce off the excess and then remove any paint that's poured in the nail. And and heat set that. Okay, now we're going to do the shaping again. So around the fingers, around the base of the fingers, draw the semicircle here, what we did before, and just pounce that out and heat set. And again. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, and we're going to go around the whole fingertip this time, so right across, all the way around the fingertip, again leaving the nail alone. I swear we will paint the nails at some point in time, just not quite yet. And just pounce off any excess, make sure it's nicely done, and then we'll heat set that. And I think we'll do one more layer and then move on to the next finger. Okay. And then heat set that. And there we have the second finger tip done. So we're going to move on to the middle finger now. Okay, so just mixing my paints again because they've settled a little. Okay, so same thing, just paint over the whole fingertip, all the way around, like so. And then just pounce any excess off and use your dry brush just to make sure that there's nothing left in the creases that you don't want or on the nail. And then we'll heat set that. Like so. And then we'll do that again, so right over the fingertip, like so, and then around the top, and just pounce that off. Okay, and then we'll heat set that now. Again, around the tip, like so, and just pounce off the excess again, and heat set. And now we're going to do the semicircle again, so just around the sides, and pounce off the excess, and we'll heat set. And again, and heat set that as well. And then just a couple more layers right across the whole fingertip, all the way around, like so. Make sure you get across the top here, this little bit here, make sure you remember that bit. and just pounce off the excess using your brush just to remove the corner bits, like so, and then we'll heat set that. And we're going to go ahead and put one more layer on the finger, I think, all the way around, and just pounce off the excess. Okie dokie, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, you can see how that's darkened that up, so we just have the final pointer finger here to do. So same thing, right across your finger, right around the sides and the front, like so. Okay. And use your dry brush just to go into all the little creases, like so, and then we'll heat set that. And again. All the way around the front. Okay, and then we'll heat set that, like so. And then we'll do the shaping, so draw the semicircle, or the little smile, and just pounce the excess off and heat set. And again. And heat set. Whole finger this time, or fingertip. And just pounce the excess off. And heat set. Okay, that's just about the same there, so we have all 4 fingertips done. So we're just going to move on to the thumb now. So it's same as the fingers, just draw right over it to begin with, all the way around, like so, and just pounce off the excess. And heat set that. And I'm just going to focus on the very tip at the moment because it's not holding the paint as well. Carry on. And heat set that again. seem to need as much paint. Many layers. And heat set that. Okay, so you can see how we've done the fingertips there, and we're beginning to look quite nice. So we've still got a way to go, but for now that's just fine on the palm of the hand. So we're going to move on to the next palm and do exactly the same thing. So load your brush up and we're going to paint over the whole hand, like so. All the way up those fingers. Like so. And just pounce off the excess. And then go in with your dry brush and just take any excess out the creases. We've got everything there. So just heat set that. Okay, and then do the same thing again. So right across the whole hand, all the way around. And up. And just pounce off any excess, like so. And then get your dry brush again. Just going toward the little creases that hold the paint. So, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, and then I think we'll do one more full layer for now, and then we'll move on to the shading as we did before. So all over the hand, right up the fingers, around the palm of the hand, and just pounce off any excess. then get your dry brush and just go around all the creases again. Like so. Make sure there's no excess just hiding somewhere. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, so that's enough base layers, so we're going to move on now to the creasing. So we're going to use our smaller brush now. Okay, so similar thing. So I want to go around the side of the palm here, and then down this side, and then around this side of the palm, and around the top, and then just right across the top of the hand, there, like so. And we're just going to pounce out the excess now. Like this. And then just go in with your dry brush into all the little areas that is collecting the paint. So around the sides here. Make sure that's blemished in quite nicely, so there's no harsh line. There. Okay, I'm quite happy with that, so I'm just going to heat set that now. Okie dokie. And then back on doing the same thing. So around the base here, and just around this area. Base and up, and then across the top of the hand, like so. Just pounce off any excess, and then go in with your dry brush. Okay, and just heat set that. Okie dokie, and do it all again. So around the base here, I'm just going to do this bit here and up the side there. I'm not going to go all the way around this time. And just in that little section there, and then the opposite section around the base and up the hand. Okay, so gone around here into that corner, and then around the base there, and then we're going to move along the top like so, all the way down across there, in between the fingers, and just pounce off any excess. Like so, and then go in with your brush, make sure there's no paint lurking. Okay. And then we'll heat set that. And repeat that, so just down around this corner here, and around the top of the thumb there. Again in that little corner here, and around the base here, and then across the top of the hand. Okay, and just pounce off any excess, and go in with your brush. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. And then we're going to do that all again. So around the base. Like that. Like so, and then just move along the top all the way across and along the fat pads at the top, and just pounce the excess off and use your brush to go in and just dab off any excess. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, and then we're going to compare it to the other hand to see how far along we're getting. We're almost there, I think, with regards to the colouring. That looks a little redder because of the fingertips, because we haven't done those yet. You can see just how much of a difference there is. If you look at the two pinkies, big difference. Okay, so we're just going to do maybe one, maybe two more shading layers, and then I'm just going to go over and do the whole hand again. So I'm just going in with my shading, so just following around the top there and then down into the base here on the side, and then into that little section there and around the base of the palm like so, and then in with our little fat pads along the top. Okay, and we'll just pounce any excess off there and go in with our dry brush again, making sure that there's no paint just hiding. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. I think I'm going to do one more layer of shading before we put the last coat on. So around the sides, like so. And then just pounce the excess off. And go in with your dry brush. Don't think there's too much to do here. And just heat set that. Okay, and then I'm going to use my big brush, my big number 10 flat, like so, and just go over the whole hand, right across up the fingers. Like so. Don't forget the sides of the fingers as well. Okay, and then we're just going to pounce the excess off and blend the sides of the fingers into the front of the fingers, so we don't want any harsh lines here. Okay, just pounce all around. Like so. And then go in with your dry brush. Just make sure there's no excess lying around. think we're good. Yep, okay, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, so you can really see we're beginning to get the shape and the definition of the hand. So now we're just going to go into the fingertips. So same as before, using my smaller flat brush, I'm going to go around the whole finger like so and bring it round to the front, and you want to go right around the nail, but not on the nail if you can avoid it, like so, right around, and then we'll just pounce that out with our sponge and then heat set that. Just paint away around the nail. Like so. Just add a little bit more on the front there. Okay, and then heat set that. Repeat the process, go right around the nail, like so, and just pounce that off. And I'm just going to go in with my brush and just remove any excess from the nails. You see how that fits in the nail? Lovely. So this is a number 0 brush, I think, or is it? No, it's not. I lied. It's a number 3 brush. So that fits Miracle's nails perfectly. Just going to heat set that now. Okay. And we'll do that all again. Right around the nail. Okay, and then we're just going to pounce that off with our sponge, and then go in with our brush, and then heat set that. Just pounce the excess off. Like so, and heat set. Okay, now we're going to do the semicircle. And pounce that off, and use my brush there, and then heat set, and then we'll do that again. Pounce and heat set. Okay, I'm going to go back to doing the full fingers, full tip of the finger, so all the way around. Like that, over the top, and just pounce off the excess, and use your brush just to remove the excess in the nail. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. to bring in the other hand just to see how close we are, and we are perfectly matching there. So I'm going to move on to the next nail, next fingertip even. So same thing, so brush right over the nail, keep saying nail, I mean fingertip, go right around, and finger, just got little bits of paint stuck in here, so I'm just going to remove them while I'm at it. There we go. So right around the edge of the nail, all the way around the finger, and we're just going to pounce that off, like so. Then go back in with your dry brush again. Okay, and we'll heat set that. Okay, and again, right around the fingertip. And pounce the excess off. And we will heat set that again. Okay, do another layer. Do the semicircle around the base of the fingertip. Just dab that off and heat set. And again. Dab that off and heat set. And then I'm going to do one more layer right over the fingertip and right around. Okay, and we'll pounce that off like so, and then we'll heat set that. And we have a matching finger, so that's the next one. So we're going to move on to the this one here, the middle finger. So same thing again, right over the fingertip, right around, all the way around your nail. Just going to take my sponge, just got a bit of paint left here on the finger, so I'm just going to move that off there. Okay, so we'll try that again. So right around, like so. And then we're just going to pounce that off with our sponge and use our brush just to go into the little crease in the nail, just to remove any excess, like so. And then we'll heat set that. And again. Okay, and we'll heat set that. And again, all the way around. And pounce the excess off. Use your brush if necessary. And heat set. Now we're going to do the semicircle, so right around the base like so, and heat set that. And again. heat set that. And now we're going to do the whole fingertip just once more, all the way around like that, and just pounce off any excess, and then we'll heat set that. And there we have a matching fingertip. So we've just got the last fingertip here, and then we'll move on to the thumb. So again, we want to go right over the fingertip, covering the whole thing, right around the front, like so, and just pounce off any excess, and use your brush to remove any paint from the crease of the nail. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. Okie dokie. And just go right around the fingertip. And heat set that. And again. All the way around. Just pounce off any excess. Use your brush and then heat set that. And now we're going to do the semicircle around the base, like so, and just pounce the excess off. And again. Ooh, went a bit too far there. And then just dab the excess off. And then the whole finger just once more, right around. And then heat set that. Okay, so there we have 4 fingertips that are all done, so we're going to move on to the thumb now. So same thing. So just over the whole thumb, like so, right around there, and just pounce off any excess. Use your brush and heat set. And again. And heat set that. And again. Right around the front here. Okay, and then pounce the excess off again. And heat set. Okay, we're going to do the semicircle here. And pounce the excess off and heat set that. And again. Pounce the excess off and heat set. And then once more, maybe twice more, we're just going to go right over the whole from just right around like so, and just pounce off any excess and heat set that again. And there you have it, all your fingertips have been done, and we've got a nice coverage of paint, same as the other hand. We're on track now. So we're going to be doing some blushing around the elbow and just going into all the creases and darkening them a little bit, and doing some detailing on the tips of the fingers like we did with the toes. Okay, so what we're going to need is our regular, same paints, regular lip blush and nail for the blushing, and the darkened paint mix for the creases. I'm going to be using my mottling sponge and my normal sponge as well, and then just a paintbrush just to kind of mix in the paints along with your dry brush as well. Okay, so it's a very similar thing to the legs. So we're just going to take our regular lip blush and nail, and we're just going to lift some paint up by swirling it around and picking up from the top. Okay, and then we're going to do the similar thing to the knees. So we're just going to dab our mottle over the elbow, going into the creases with the corner of your sponge, like so. And then you'll take your regular sponge and just make sure there's no harsh edges around where you finished the mottling. So you just blend those in with your sponge. Okay, when you're happy with that, then you heat set with your gun. Okie dokie. Check it's not too hot. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing again. Again, don't be afraid to dab more than once with your mottling sponge, because you don't want a clear mottling pattern. It just helps break up the tone, so there's a little bit of texture within, but you still want to be putting some colour onto the elbow. So dot over the same part with your sponge in the centre, and then as you go further out, go less and less with dotting the sponge over each other. So I've only pounced once on the very outside ring there, and I'm just going to dab over with my dry sponge just to make sure that there's no excess and all the lines are blended, and then I'm going to heat set that with my heat gun. Okay, you can see we're already beginning to pick up a little bit of colour there. So just again, I'm only going to do the centre now, so I'm just doing the centre with my sponge, my mottling sponge, just dabbing over there, and I'm just going to go around with my normal sponge, just lifting off any harsh edges, and then I'm going to heat set that again. Okie dokie, and then I'm going to do that one more time. Just going to lift up a little bit more paint. Okay. Just dab that around, like so. Dab off all the harsh edges, just blend them out, and then heat set that. Okay, now you don't want to go too much on the elbow, because you don't want it to look like they've banged their elbow or it's swollen or something like that. So just enough to change the colour tone, so there's a little bit of definition, but not too much to then make it look really red and sore. If you need to, then just pop it next to your knee and have a look and see what you think. I think we're looking quite close, so yeah, you don't need too much there. Okay, so that's the elbow almost done. I'm just going to do one more layer, and the way I'm going to do this is slightly different. So I'm just going to take my brush in my paint, it's just a mop brush, and I'm just going to bring that over the elbow all the way around, like so, and then just dab that off with my sponge. This just gives a little bit more colour within, just to finish it off. You don't have to do this layer if you're happy with how it turned out with the mottling, but I just prefer to kind of add a little bit on top just to kind of give it that full depth. Okay, that's perfect. So now we're going to move on to the next part. So we're going to go around the wrist here just to give the wrist a little bit of definition. So what we're going to do is use the same lip blush and nail paint, and we're going to go around the base of the palm of the hand and around the top of the wrist. Very similar to what we did at the ankle here, where we went all the way around the ankle. We're going to be doing a similar thing here around the wrist. Okay, so I'm going to be using the same mop brush we just used, mixed into my paints. Okay, and I'm just going to bring that right around the wrist here, lift it up and around the top of the wrist, like so. You see how that's gone over the top there? It's just like a bracelet around the wrist sort of thing. And then with our regular sponge, we're just going to dab out the excess and make sure that the lines are all blended nicely. Okay, so I'm going to go right the way around the wrist. This just helps define the hand and the arm, and also helps bring the palm of the hand into the colour of the wrist, because right now it's very stark between the dark palm and the lighter wrist. So this just helps transition. Okay, so it's a nice layer to do. Just make sure that there's nothing left in the creases or anything like that, and then grab your heat gun and heat set that. Okie dokie. So doing the same thing again. So load your brush, but make sure you take the majority of it off. You don't want a lot for this at all. You just want just enough to coat the vinyl, because you don't want it running everywhere and you're not able to control it. Okay, so just bring it down and around the wrist, same as before, all the way around, and just dab out the excess, like so. Okie dokie, and then we're going to heat set that. Okay, still missed a bit there. Okay, so I'm just going to take a step back and have a look and see what that looks like. Don't think we need any more on the top, otherwise it'll start to look like it's swollen. So I'm going to focus on the base now, so on the back even. So we're going to do the same thing with our brush, but we're just going to do the back of the arm here, the inside of the arm. So just brush that around there, dab off any excess, go into the creases as well with the corner of your sponge. If you need to, then use your dry brush. If you're happy with your sponge, that's totally fine. Just go in and lift any excess out, and then just heat set that. Okay, and I'm going to do that one more time, just in the very crease of the hand here, like so, and then just dabbing off the excess again, all the way around, and heat set that. Fantastic. Okay, so that's given me the desired effect. It's just given it an ever so slight definition between the hand and the arm, and it's brought this hand, the palm of the hand, right down into the forearm there. It just helps transition the colour right through. Okay, so that's lovely. So we're going to go ahead and move on now. So we're going to move on to the tips of the fingers here, like we did with the top of the toes. So we're going to be using the same lip blush and nail colour mix that we did beforehand, and we're just going to be using a slightly smaller brush for this. Okay. So what we're going to be doing is just lifting some paint onto your brush. Again, you don't need a lot on your brush, you want to be able to control this. Okay, and then we're just going to go around the tips of the finger, like so. And we're going to go all the way around, like that. And then we're just going to dab the excess off with our sponge. And we're going to go into the little creases on the knuckle area. And again, dabbing that off with our sponge. And then we're just going to follow the base of the finger around like so. Okay. So not too much work here, just a few little places we need to do. And just make sure you've dab it all off with your sponge. And if you need to, then use your dry brush and just go into the crease of the finger nail here, if there's any paint stuck in there. Okie dokie, I think I've got the majority of that out. Okay, and then we're just going to heat set that with our heat gun. Okie dokie. And we're just going to do that a couple of times just to bring in a little bit more colour and add a little bit more definition into certain areas. Okay, so same thing, we're just going to brush right around the tip of the finger there, go into the creases of the knuckle, and then along the base of the finger here, like so. And then just dabbing off the excess, like so, making sure it's all blended in nicely. And then we're going to heat set that with our gun. Okie dokie. And we're going to do that again, but this time I'm going to just draw that line across the finger here at the base of the fingernail, very similar to what we did with the toe. So just drawing that line across there into the crease on the finger, on the knuckles, like so, and then around the base of the finger. Okay, and just dab that off with your sponge, make sure you've got all the excess out of the creases and everything's nice and blended. If you do need your dry brush, feel free to use it. Okay. And then we're just going to heat set that now with our gun. Okay, you can see the colours beginning to lift between this finger and this finger. You can see there's a bit of a difference already. Still got a little bit to go, but that is the start of it there. Okay, so we're just going to continue with that hand now. So same thing, just lifting your paint, and we're going to go around the tip of the finger, like so, across the knuckles and around the base. Okay. And then just use your sponge to dab that off. And use your dry brush if you get anything on the nail or you're struggling to get something out the crease with your sponge. Okay, and then we're going to heat set that. Alright, and then we're going to do the same thing again. So around the tip of the nail, through the creases of the knuckle, and around the base of the finger. Just going to go a little bit over, just so we can blend it out, so it's not a harsh line around the base of the finger. Okay, and then we're just going to dab that out with our sponge. Like so, all the way around, and then heat set that. Okay, we're just going to keep going until we're happy with the colour. So same thing again, around the nail edge like so. The tip there, I'm just going to bring it down this time just to blend in nicely. Okay, and then we're just going to dab that off with our sponge. Like that. And go in with our dry brush and just lift any excess off, and then heat set that. Okay. And I'm going to do that again. So I'm just going to focus on the tip of the finger now. So I'm just bringing paint around like that, same as before, and then just blend that down the finger slightly, making sure that you've not got any paint stuck in those top creases or in the bed of the nail. Okay, I'm just going to heat set that now. Okay, and do that again. And just dab that out and brush off the excess on the nail, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, if you need a bit of a comparison, just pop it next to the toes and see how far you are. We're almost there. It needs a little bit more red. As you can see the difference between the two fingers and the difference between the finger and the toes. So you kind of want it to match the toes. Well, I personally like it to match the toes. It's you know, they are very far away, but they need to look like they belong to the same baby. Okay, so I just like to match everything up. So I'm just going to do another couple layers on that finger. Tip here, and then the base. I'm going to carry on with the base area and the knuckle area this time, just to lift up and bring it up to the same standard as the tip of the nail. Now the tip of the nail, personally, I like to be a little redder than the knuckles and the base of the crease. It should go in order, so this is the darkest, then this one, and then this one. Okay, so it's that's just my personal preference. Okay, so it doesn't have to be that way, but that's what I like. Okay, so I'm just going to lift any excess off of my dry brush, and I'm going to go and heat set that now. And I'm going to do one or two more layers just to lift the colour up a little bit. Like so. dabbing off the excess. Okay. And then we're going to heat set that. Okay, take a step back and have a look. I am happy with how that's looking. It is matching the toes somewhat, as you can see. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next finger. Same thing again. We're just going to go around the tip of the finger, down through the creases on the knuckle. Okay, and then we're going to move down to the base of the finger and just go into all the little areas and creases around the base, like so. Just generally make it slightly darker. And then we're going to dab off the excess with our sponge. And then we're going to make sure there's nothing left in on the nail if you've touched it with your paint. And then we're going to heat set that with our heat gun. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing again, same as the last finger. So just bring it around the nail area and just bring it down past the knuckles and around the base of the fingers, around all the creasing. Okay? And then we're just going to dab that off with our sponge. And I'm going to heat set that with our heat gun. Fantastic, okay. Do the same thing again. So around the nail area, down past the creasing on the knuckle, and then around the base of the finger. Okay, and I'm just going to dab that off with our sponge again. And then we're going to heat set that with our gun. And then again, same thing. Oh, gone onto my nail there. Just go around the nail area of the fingertip and around the creases in the knuckles, and then down the base of the finger and in all the creases that are there. Okay. And we're just going to dab the excess off all around and down, and then we're going to heat set that. Okay. And around the fingernail again. Excuse me. And down past the creases of the fingers and around the base. Dab off any excess. And heat set away. you can see we're beginning to match up now with our colouring, though this one's still slightly darker, so we still have another couple of layers to go on the second finger. So we're just going to do exactly the same thing. I'm just going to focus on the tip of the finger though. Okay, so just brushing it all around the tip of the finger, bring it down ever so slightly so we can blend it nicely into the rest of the finger. Okay, and we're just dabbing the excess off and bringing it down, and then we're going to heat set that there. Okay, check it's not too hot, and I'm going to do the same thing again around the tip of the finger here. Just dabbing it off. And I'm also going to do the base here because it's not quite as dark as I would like it, so I'm just going to focus on that as well. Okay, so just dabbing the excess off, and then we're going to heat set that. Okie dokie. And same thing again with our brush, so I'm just going to go in the base of the finger here. Okay, just dab the excess off. Okie dokie. Looking good. And I'm just going to go around the tip of the finger as well, just to bring the colouring up to the same as the first finger. Okay, so just dabbing the excess off again and heat setting that. And again. Okay, I'm just going to dab the excess off. All the way around and heat set that. Okay, now I'm going to take a step back and have a look at those fingers, and they are looking very, very similar, so I'm happy with that. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the third finger now. Okay, so just do 2 more fingers and then onto the thumb. Okay, so we're going to do exactly the same thing as before, so just load up your brush and bring it around the tip of the finger, and then we're going to bring it across the knuckle area, and move it down in the crease area of the base of the finger. Okay, and then we're just going to take our sponge and dab away any excess. Okay, just going to bring in my dry brush because paint's getting caught in this top crease in the knuckle. Okay, when I'm happy with that, I'm going to heat set that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do exactly the same thing, so just painting around the creasing of the vinyl on the tip of the finger, down over the knuckle, a little bit more paint. Let's go down over the knuckle and then down in between the fingers and around all the creasing, and just dabbing off the excess around the finger, and then we're going to heat set that. The same thing again, so just going around the tip of the finger here, and over the knuckle area, and then down and around the base of the finger. Okay, so we're just going to lift off any excess paint there, all around like so, and then we're just going to heat set that. Okay. And the same thing again around the tip as well. And then we're just going to dab off the excess and heat set that. Okay, we're coming up to about the same colouring. Got a couple more layers to go still. So I'm just going to go around the base of the finger again and around the tip. I'm just going to leave the knuckle free. Okay, I've got some on the nail there, so I'm just going to wipe it off with my sponge and then dab off the excess around the nail. Okay, and then we'll heat set that again. Check it's not too hot. Okay, and just go around the tip of the nail again, and don't think that really needs too much. I'm just going to go on the corner here because that will be a little deeper than anything else. Apart from that, I don't think that needs any more. Okay, just going to dab a little bit in the centre of the knuckle there. Okay, and we're going to heat set that. Looking fantastic. Okay, I'm going to do one more layer on the tip of the finger here. I'm going to go all the way around, down past that so it's blending down the hand, like so. And just dabbing the excess off of that and heat setting. Fantastic. Okay, I'm happy with how that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the pinky finger here. Okay, so same thing, excuse me, same thing as always, just bringing the paint around the tip of the finger here, like so, and across the knuckle area, and then down all the creasing around the base of the finger. Okay, and then we're just going to dab the excess off with our sponge again, and then we're going to heat set that with our heat set gun. Great, okay, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing again, so around the tip of the finger, like so. I'm going to add a little bit more to my brush, around the tip, across the knuckle area, and then following the creasing around the base of the finger. Okay, and again just dab it off with your sponge, make sure everything blends in nicely and there's no harsh lines, and when you're happy with how it looks, bring out your heat gun and just heat set that there. Okay, so I've got a few more layers to go to bring it up to the right colour. Okay, so around the tip here, around the knuckle area, and bringing it down and through the base of the finger, through all the creasing there. Okay, and we're just going to dab off the excess through the hand, Okay, and we're going to heat set that. Okay, and we've got a couple more layers, I think. So I'm just going to focus on the tip of the finger again. So just go around that there. And just going to bring it up a little bit here, just to blend things in nicer. Okay, and then we're just going to dab off the excess from that and heat set. Okay, and again. Just dabbing off the excess and heat set. Okay, and just take a step back and have a look. I think that matches in very, very nicely, which is great. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the thumb now. Now this is slightly difficult because with our fingers you can see we have one knuckle, we have the knuckle here, and then we have one here and one here. With the thumb you have the base knuckle and then the one fold in it there, so it's slightly different as to how this works, marginally so though. So we're just going to go around the tip of the finger like we did, the tip of the thumb even, like we did with the finger. So just going around there like so, and I'm going to bring it down a little bit further. Okay, and then I'm just going to circle the base with my brush and then bring it down where the highest point is on the turn of from front to the back of the hand. So we're just highlighting that area, okay? And we're just going to dab out any excess there, and then we're going to heat set that. Okay, so I'll show you again. Around the tip of the finger, of the thumb even, around there like we did with the finger, but bring it down a little bit further, then go around the base of the thumb and bring that down on the highest point of the turn from the front to the back of the hand, down here until you meet the crease on the wrist, okay? And then we're just going to dab off the excess like with any other finger, like so, and then heat set that. Okay. And then around the tip of the finger, I'm just going to focus on the tip here for a moment. Okay, and just dab the excess off and heat set that. And around again, dab off any excess and heat set that. Okay, have a look at the other fingers and see if it matches. It doesn't just yet, we've got another couple layers. So I'm just going to go around the tip of the finger here. Dab off the excess and heat set. Okay, and we're going to do that one more time, I think. Around the base, tip of the finger, and I'm just going to do the very bottom of the base there. Okay, dabbing off the excess, make sure it's nice and blended. Heat set that. And just check. That looks really good. Okay, so that is the creasing done on the tips of the fingers. Okay, for this part we're going to do the creasing around the arm, so just all the little fat rolls around the arm, like we did with the legs. You're going to need your average lip blush and nail that we did, that mixture. You're also going to need your darker mixture that we did for the creasing, and I'm going to use my mottling sponge and my regular sponge, and then just a brush for the creasing, and then a brush to lift the paint. Okay, so I'm going to use my lip blush and nail first. Okay, so we're going to start off at the base, which is what I usually do. So we're just going to do some creasing. So we're going to go like we did with the legs, just around all the creases. Like so, that we can see. I'm just going to do this one in the middle here. And then we're going to grab our sponge and just dab off any excess. More there, and then we're going to grab our heat gun and heat set that. Okay, and we'll do that again. So same thing, just go through all the little creases. Around the wrist area. Okay, just dabbing out any excess. If you need to use your dry brush, feel free to do so. And then heat set that again. And I'm going to go ahead and do another layer, so across the crease like so. Right around the base of the hand. And just dab off any excess. And with this one in the middle, we're going to do the triangle effect that we did before. So just bring a triangle out from the edge of the crease. I'm going to do that on both sides. And we're just going to dab that off with our sponge, like so. And then we're going to grab our heat gun and heat set that. Okay. Now I've got a crease here that isn't picking up paint as well as the others, so I'm just going to go ahead and focus on that one, like so. I'm just going to do a couple layers on this, just to bring it up to the same standard as the others. Okay. Great. Okay, I think I'm going to do one more layer with the creasing. Remember, we've still got the darker creasing to go, so this is just laying the foundations. So you don't want to go too dark here. So we're just going to move around the creasing here, making sure we've got all the little bits there. Okay, dabbing off the excess. Missed these ones here. Okay, and then we're just going to heat set that. Okie dokie, and that's looking really, really lovely. So we're going to move along to the creases around the top of the arm now. So same thing as before. So we're just going to go down, following the creases, and around, like so. Okay, and we're just going to dab out any excess there, make sure it's blended nicely, and heat set that. Okay, and again, same thing, so just bringing it right around the crease, like so, and following it in both directions. And then we're just going to dab off the excess and heat set that. Okay, and again. Now I'm just going to focus on this side this time because this side seems to be darker than this, so just focusing on this part here. Okay, I'm just going to dab off the excess around there, and then we'll heat set that. Okay, I'm going to do that again. And heat set. Okie dokie. That's brought that up to the same excuse me, the same standard as the rest of the crease. So we're just going to go ahead and darken that ever so slightly. And here. Okay. And just dab off the excess all the way around and heat set that. Okay, that was looking really nice. So we're going to move on to the rest of the creases now. So moving down, we have one going across here, so we'll focus on that one for now. So just through there, dabbing off the excess and heat setting. Same motion as always, so just bring it through and dabbing off the excess and heat setting. I'm just going to do this a few more times, okay, just to give that a little colour. Okay, just going to move it to this side again. So same technique, just bringing it through the crease, nothing different here. We're just going to heat set that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the elbow creases. So same thing here, so you just want to brush through with your paint through all the little creases around there. Bring it down to both sides. Like so, and I'm just going to dab out the excess. Okay, and then we'll heat set that. feel this is a lot darker than the other side, so I'm going to focus on the other side for now. And here. Just that one crease above there that's not quite as dark. Okay, just dabbing off the excess and heat setting that. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to bring this, make this a little bit darker, this top crease, because it's not as dark as I would like. So I'm just going to focus on that. So I'm going to heat set now. Just doing the same thing by bringing my brush through the crease like so and heat setting that. That's great. Okay, move to this side here just to bring it up to the same colour and tone as the rest of the creasing. Okay, we're going to heat set that now. Okay, so having a look at that, I'm happy with the colouring that we've got. Okay, so now we're going to move on to doing the darker creasing. So we're just going to use our dark crease that we mixed up for the legs a while ago. So we're using the same paint. I'm going to do the same thing as regular creasing. So we're just going to run through all the creases with this colour. This just helps darken it and get rid of some of the pinky red tones in there and just gives it that little bit more depth that you don't really get with the blush and nail mix that we have. Okay, and just pull that through all the little creases, right down the arm, all the way round, making sure not to miss any. Do these tiny little ones over the wrist. Okay, and then we grab our sponge and we just pounce off all the excess around here. Like so. Okay, and then we heat set that with our heat gun. And I'm going to go around and do the same thing again through all the creases. So just follow them around with your brush. Like so, reloading every now and again when you feel like you are running a bit low. And I'm just going to go through all the little creases around the arm. So, all the way around, and then I'm just going to go through some of the deeper creases on the palm of the hand, so just around this area here and then along there, so around the ball of the hand and then across the lifeline there. And I'm just going to dab off all the excess in the creases. Okay, making sure I'm not missing anything. just heat set that. Okie dokie. I'm going to do that one more time, but I'm just going to do it over the elbow crease because the elbow crease is darker than the other creases because it is a bend in the arm. Okay, so I'm just going to follow the elbow crease around with this colour, like so, and just dab that off with our sponge, like that, and then heat set that. Okay, I'm really happy with how that looks. Just take a step back and you can see the colouring really nicely. It is I really like how that's turned out. Okay, so that's all for the arm for now. So all we have left now to do is the nails, which we'll go on to later. So we're going to move on to our other hand now. Can you see the difference here? There's a big difference between the finished one and the unfinished one.
We're doing exactly the same as we did on this arm now, but I'm going to do it off camera just to save a little bit of time. Okay?
Okay, so we're going to move on to the belly plate, I've decided. So there's not too much to do here with the way of blushing, so we're just going to work around the nipples because they're just blending in at the minute. So same paint, and I'm just going to mix it up because it's settled. Like so. Okay, and I'm going to use my flat brush. This is a number 2 flat brush. And I'm just going to lift some paint from there. I'm going to take my belly plate and then I'm just going to draw around the nipple in an almond sort of shape, so football, American football or a rugby ball sort of shape, and just pounce that off. And I'll do that with both nipples. See that? Pounce that off, and then we'll heat set that. Okay. And then we'll do that again. You don't want to make the nipples too dark with a Caucasian baby because they very rarely stand out. So I'm not going to do too many layers. Nice almond shape there. And just pounce the excess off. And heat set that. Okay. There we go. You can see how they're beginning to stand out a little bit. And just pounce that off and then heat set that. You can see how they're really beginning to catch their realism now. I'm going to do that a couple more times, I think. Give them a little bit of a boost. And just pounce that off. And heat set that again. and just pounce. Just going to add a little bit more to this side. And pounce that off as well. And then we'll heat set that. Oh, bit of a harsh line there. Just sort that out. Okay. This one's a little bit darker than this side, so I'm just going to go ahead and go over this side again. Just to kind of even them out. Got a bit of fluff there. Okay, and we'll heat set that. Okay, so you can see how much that's darkened the nipples now, so they actually have a bit of definition. So I'm going to leave that for now, and we might come back and darken them later, but for now I think that's quite good.